Seattle's offense is one of the best in the NFL, and the Giants' defense cannot have any breakdowns over 60 minutes because their quarterback, Russell Wilson, will make you pay.
Yeah, it's at every level that this defense has to be disciplined. Up front, their pass rush lanes. In the intermediate areas, do not come up and chase the quarterback and let something leak out. And on the back end of the defense, you cannot be spectators because they've got guys that can get behind you, and if you take your eyes off of them, it's going to be a big score or a big yardage gain.
Once a Giant, always a Giant. Eli Manning, always a Giant. Way to go, G-Men. First place.
Yeah, I love it. Obviously, we're in first place right now. Eli Manning's loving it, telling DJ to heal up quickly. We all are wishing DJ a speedy and healthy recovery and en route to being number one.
Absolutely. And love to see that as the offense has been getting going lately, especially with the run game. Saquon Barkley joined Good Morning Football recently, was talking about Wayne Gallman stepping up in Saquon's absence and just what he's seen from the Wayne train.
Wayne train, as we call him. I love that guy. You know, we have a great relationship. You know, that's one of my brothers. And I'm so happy for him. He's been playing well. You can see his confidence grow. Everyone, you know, in the organization knows how special, how talented Wayne is. And every single week you go out there and you see his confidence grow and his confidence grow. So I'm just happy for him. The run game, you know, we got the run game going. The big boys up front are, you know, doing a heck of a job. So, you know, definitely get a shout out for those guys too.
Man, you love to see Saquon talking about his teammate. Obviously, they share a running back room together. He's seen him from the moment they came in, and they understand that. But Wayne has been running exceptionally well. Wayne Gallman has been running the ball the way we'd like to see him run the ball, downhill, effective, getting north and south. And we're going to need a lot more of that down the stretch run of this season.
Russell Wilson having an incredible year. He might win the MVP. What makes him so effective?
Well, because he's calm in chaos, Bob. And we'll take a look. And you're going to see a rush coming inside. You're going to see a rush coming here. It's just raining on Russ. But what you'll see are the subtle movements that he makes to elude the rush. Here's an inside move here. He just takes a little sidestep, right? You continue. They come back on him this way. He escapes out. And all while doing it, Bob, his intention is to get the ball down the field. He's not looking to run it. He throws it, defense is behind you. So what happens is when he's moving around the pocket, the back end of your defense, they can't become spectators. They've got to glue to their guys. And I'm going to give you an example here of Russell Wilson moving around. And just take a look. These guys, in the safety in particular, just watch what happens when they become spectators.
And it's kind of a natural tendency, isn't it?
It is because, I mean, he's moving around a lot in there. Now he's moving out. Look, all eyes are back here instead of on these guys. So when Russell Wilson starts to escape the pocket, you better find the guy and let the defensive lineman worry about it because his scrambling will not go the distance for a touchdown faster than he can throw it at you.
All right, and his receivers are obviously very well schooled in the scramble drill, and they're all on the same page when he's doing that. Now let's go to the other side of the football, Carl, because this is a team that, despite the defensive numbers, is getting better and better, and a lot of that has to do with Jamal Adams being back in the lineup. They've got outstanding linebackers in KJ Wright and Bobby Wagner.
Well, the number one guy, if you have to concern yourself as an offensive line and a quarterback, is a guy I call the problem. It's Jamal Adams because he is a problem. He's not only a blitzer, but you can see he's a skilled pass rusher. He will overpower guys bigger than him. He comes off, makes a play there.
He's got 15 and a half sacks from the safety spot since he came into the NFL.
I mean, that's a problem. And you'll see him again here. Here he is down here at the bottom of the screen. Comes on a delayed blitz. The speed to catch a quarterback running opposite of him.
Yeah, and he's catching a guy like Cam Newton who can get after it as well. All right, let's take a look at their front seven, Carl.
It's their front seven, but Bobby Wagner is a guy you want to focus on. He's been their most productive and consistent guy. You see him here in coverage, running a quick slant to a tight end. He's got the lateral movement to get into throwing windows. So you've got to be pretty precise with your passes if you want to target their linebackers.
Carl, you get the first question, and we'll start with this. Will the Giants' offense change drastically with Colt McCoy at quarterback, and what is his greatest strength?
Well, I'm not going to say drastically. I'm going to use the word appropriately. They will work to his strengths. I think his experience is his strength. And, you know, the thing is, if it ain't broke, don't break it. Just go out and manage the game plan they give you.
I think Colt McCoy is going to do a pretty good job. Think about this. He's probably a 60+% passer over his history of his career. He was pretty good in college. He didn't quite get to the the position he wanted to or the height he wanted to when he got to the NFL, but he's a 60% passer. We can expect him to take care of the ball, not make any turnovers. Don't look for the big runs, but he'll just take care of the ball.
And he is 1-0 against Seattle, although it came a long time ago and Russell Wilson wasn't there yet. But with Cleveland, he did beat Seattle by a score of 6-3. All right, next question. Howard, I'll start this one off with you. Despite no fans, Seattle is still undefeated at home. They're 5-0 playing in their building. Is there still home field advantage in the National Football League? And is Seattle still one of the toughest places to play?
No, not this year. Not during 2020. There's really no home field advantage. There's no fans in the stands. There's no crowd noise, and that's what makes the home field advantage is the crowd noise. Now, you might like to travel, whether it's East Coast to West Coast, but outside of that, not really a home field advantage.
Well, that makes it home field advantage. One team has to travel across the country, Howard, and the other one just gets to wake up and go to the stadium. I'd say that's an advantage.
Okay, Carl, if you say so.
Follow-up, Howard. Under normal circumstances, is Seattle the toughest place to play in?
Seattle's one of the toughest places to play in. I think a lot of the dome stadiums are really loud. I think New Orleans is a really hard place to play with that sound down there. Seattle's probably one of the loudest next to Kansas City.
Carl, what do you think?
I concur.
There you go. Next question. Is Russell Wilson the front runner for the MVP? Carl?
It changes from week to week. It depends on what the armchair quarterbacks love about him that week.
Well, right now he is because he's in first place. Once the Giants win this weekend, he will not be in the first place for the MVP.
All right, next question. Jamal Adams, back in the lineup. He's got 15.5 sacks over the course of his career. Howard, is he the best defensive back that the Giants will have faced so far this year?
No, there's a little guy out with the Rams. I think his name's Jalen Ramsey, which might be the best defensive back that's played in this era. So I think Jamal Adams is good. He'll be up close to the line. He'll be rushing the passer, getting sacks. But as far as a defensive back, Jalen Ramsey's the best they faced.
I call Jamal Adams a problem, or I call him the problem, because he is a problem for every offense that he plays against. So whether he's the best or not, they got to solve that problem because he's going to be there.
I'm going with my guy Blake Martinez here.
All right.
We understand he's a tackling machine, over 100 tackles already, does a lot for this football team, forced fumble recovery, 4 passes defended. He really does it all. But obviously, as we know, coming into this game with Russell Wilson, you have to be on your P's and Q's. You have to be the quarterback of that defense to negate the things that he's seeing that Russell Wilson's checking to, different looks, different fronts, obviously, in the run game as well as the pass. So I'm looking for him to have a big cerebral game. I know talented-wise, he's going to go out there and make tackles. He's going to fly all around the field. But from a mental standpoint, he has to be ready to play going up against Russell Wilson.
I like your call because this is going to be a chess match between quarterback and middle linebacker. We see Russell Wilson signaling, shooting the guns all the way out to the receivers. Alignment and assignment are going to be huge for this New York Giants defense.
Absolutely.
I'm actually going to stay on the defense side of the ball, and I'm going to go with Logan Ryan. We all saw the big game that DK Metcalf had last week, and it's going to be crucial to get over the top because we know his speed is a big deal, but his size is another thing. The catch radius, the 50-50 balls, he's going to be able to help over the top, and he's going to have to be an integral part of the run game as well. They've started molding it into Chris Carson, wanting to play complementary football with their defense. So I'm going to go with Logan Ryan for my above the numbers.
Yeah, and if you see Chris Carson, he's been playing good football, coming back off an injury and running the ball really well this past game. And there's a slogan that goes for the defense, especially in the secondary, at the safety position. You want to be as deep as the deepest. And there's no more indicator than that coming up this week with DK Metcalf. You want to be as deep as possible to keep him in front of you and make those plays when the ball's in the air, because they're going to be in the air. There's going to be opportunities for these defenders, especially in the secondary, to make big plays when the ball's in the air.
Yes, they are. And the player that we need to keep Below the numbers is Chris Carson.
Yeah, we just mentioned him earlier. He came back off an injury, just had a really good game, really tough runner downhill. If they can keep him composed, keep him bottled up, keep him from making those big splash plays, and potentially keep him out of the end zone, the defense will have a good shot at winning this fall.
One of the reasons why they went to the ground and pound is because now all of a sudden the offensive line was starting to get exposed. That's an area that this Giants defensive line can capitalize on.
And one of the most imposing and intimidating players on the field is wide receiver DK Metcalf.
Yeah, imposing, intimidating, physically dominant is what you think of when you see DK Metcalf. We all know about his speed. We all know about his power. Now you got to mix in these bright green jerseys. Don't let the baby pacifier mouthpiece fool you. This is a grown man. It's going to take everybody on defense to try to slow this guy down.
Yeah, no question about it, Sean. He's got the size of Calvin Johnson. He has that long speed of Randy Moss. And one of the Giants quarterbacks, their top one, James Bradberry, will get this matchup most of the game. He really does strive against those physical players, but this is a different type of beast now.
Yeah, it will probably remind him of his matchups against Julio Jones when he used to face the Falcons when he played for Carolina. Same kind of guy. You mentioned it, the long strider, long arms. So, of course, James Bradberry, who likes to be physical at the line of scrimmage, he's going to want to get the jam on him. But the speed, that's going to be one of those things where we've seen James Bradberry have great recovery speed, break up the passes. It's going to be tough to do that with DK Metcalf. Plus, Russell Wilson's been phenomenal this year with the deep ball. DK Metcalf is probably the best deep ball receiver right now in the league. Every single catch, it's like he's averaging 20-plus yards per reception. So no doubt it'll be interesting, John, if it's man coverage. And if you go man coverage with James Bradberry, do you leave a safety over the top in the middle of the field to help him out?
No question about it. And, of course, the Giants' safety this year have played really good football, Logan Ryan, Jabril Peppers. But here's the real kink now. You also have to deal with Tyler Lockett, who you could argue might be Russell Wilson's top target that he trusts the most in that middle of the field.
It seems like every time Russell Wilson scrambles or is in trouble, he finds Tyler Lockett. He comes out of nowhere. It's a crossing route, it's a pivot route, but the scramble drill is no doubt going to be one of the big challenges for this Giants defense. Tyler Lockett is very good after the catch as well. So, issue number one, you want to break the pass up. But issue number two, after Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf catch the football, you got to bring him down. Find a way. Tyler Lockett is very shifty, has really good acceleration. DK Metcalf obviously has the muscles and the abs just like you.
Oh, yeah, just like me. Sure, Sean.
Carl, on Monday night, DK Metcalf just destroyed Darius Slay, Philadelphia's best corner. James Bradberry is a bit more physical of a player. How do you be physical with a guy that is bigger and taller and stronger?
Well, you've got to play your technique, Bob, and I'm sure that Patrick Graham will have something in to help neutralize Metcalf, but at a certain point, Metcalf just starts to take over games. You hold your breath and you say you hope it's not against your team. So you've got to, the front end of that pass is where you have to impact it, because if the ball's in the air, he's a guy that can make a play. So you've got to get Russell Wilson contained.
You're playing Seattle this week, Russell Wilson, an MVP candidate. Give me the one trait about him that truly separates him from the other quarterbacks in the league.
That's kind of hard to say one, because that guy's he's a really great player. I think his IQ of the game is just really, really high, I think. You'll see on tape sometimes where he'll do stuff that, he's literally only doing to, set people up. Where, I'll see him, scramble out sometimes, and, he clearly has a running lane, and he'll do, a fake pass just to, get that guy in front of him to turn around, and then now he has even more room to run. So I think he's just, really savvy, and then he's also just a dual-threat guy, and he just, stays alive in the pocket. It's really hard to get him.
They are great in the red zone. In fact, I believe of their opportunities, they're 75%, which is second best in the NFL. Is that primarily because of his savviness and his creativity, or is there something else that I'm missing?
Yeah, I think, they obviously have a lot of weapons and other guys on offense, but, the offense is always ran by the quarterback, and he's definitely the leader of that offense and leader of the team, and he runs the show, and he's definitely one of the guys that we're going to have to make uncomfortable to win this game.
What about that Carson and Hyde dual threat in the backfield? People talk about the passing game all the time, but they can run it now with those two guys.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those are both some really hard runners. They break a lot of tackles, as we've seen on film. We're gonna have to work hard on wrapping up and staying in our run fits and stuff like that. And like I said, if we want to get to the quarterback and make him uncomfortable, we're gonna have to be able to stop the run. We can't let them, stay two-dimensional the whole game, and we have to make them one-dimensional.
Final quick thought, Leonard. What about the 12th man in Seattle? It always hurts opponents, but it won't be there because they don't have fans. Is that to your advantage that you won't have to combat those guys?
I think so. I mean, people talk about their stadium crowd noise and stuff like that a lot, and this year's obviously been a little different. Everyone's kind of adjusting to it, but either way, they're a great team, and I don't think their crowd is gonna change that. I think we're gonna have to be ready to play a really good team.